Guys who gave the crazy girl a chance, what happened? We got married, had a kid, and moved houses. She self-medicated with marijuana for her anxiety, then attacked me and a friend using a razor blade. We divorced, I got custody, she moved away, and she got married again. She moved back with husband, sued me for custody, got custody, tried homeschooling, and then attacked new husband one night. They got divorced, I got custody back, then she kidnapped both kids and drove to Mexico, and was later arrested coming back across the border. Tada, I did everything I could to help her get on her feet. When I met her, she slept all day, had no hobbies, was always grouchy. But we connected and I was happy with her. 7 years, lots of money, therapy, encouragement, pep talks, the whole 9 yards. She's hanging out with friends again, working a better job, and is active in her interests/hobbies. Then she cheated on me. Not me, but a buddy of mine. He dated her for 3 years and during that time completely turned her life around. Therapy, job, started community college, a medication that finally started working, whole 9 yards. Her life was going great, and we, his friends, actually started to enjoy being around her after 2.5 years of dreading every moment of it. After 3 years of him supporting her and encouraging her to get her life on track and dealing with her bullshit, she left him for some trust fund baby who could better provide for her. My buddy ran into her a couple years ago, and while it didn't work out between her and trust fund, she still has her life on the right track. So since she is pretty all right when she is doing well, I'm happy for her. But since she was so shallow that she left my friend so easily after everything for someone with daddy's money, frick her. We had tickets to see Godspeed, You Black Emperor. Hanging out before the set, joking around, everything was great. She says to me, "You are perfect." I casually respond, "Not perfect. Remember you were mad that I left the seat up? Haha, hey, I'll go get us some drinks." Come back carrying 2 glasses. She's covered in BLD. She'd been cutting herself on the dance floor. "I'm sorry I got mad at you about the toilet seat. I'm punishing myself so I'll never say it again." In my opinion, it was not a proportional response, and I did not see her again after that. She went out with my roomie and got trashed. Like super effing trashed. Comes back to our apartment, crawls into bed with me, and tells me she loves me. I told her I wasn't there yet. She was the smallest tornado I've ever seen in my life, throwing things, screaming. I got her out of the apartment and she walked down the hall, banging on everyone's door. She made her way to the parking lot and started screaming again. Then she wandered off. The cops showed up and threatened to arrest me for some stupid charge. I reassured them I was glad they were there and I want no part of what's going on. They started searching for her. Eventually, they found some of her clothes in the parking lot, then saw some more a little further. They followed her clothes trail to the playground and found her out cold in the slide in her undies. When they went to retrieve her, of course she tried to fight them off. The next day, I hear a knock on my door. It's her. She only says, "Can I have my phone and pocketbook? I'll never come back again." And that was the last I ever saw of her. I think I could have fixed her. I got hit with a late 90s big body Chevy and left by the side of the road in a state park because I threw a bowl of milk on a banana spider that was coming towards the tent opening at our campsite. Rescued by RV campers and a park ranger. Dated one for 2 years, got her some therapy and medication, and I thought everyone was grand. One night I come home late from work, tired and exhausted. I climb into bed and she starts wanting to have some fun time. I said no. We can in the morning, just not right now. I'm wanting to sleep. She didn't take that well. Next thing I know, I wake up at 2 a.m. to her breaking a coffee mug and using the handle to slice down from my right eyebrow over my eyelid all the way down my cheek. Kicked her out, lost my eye, and been in therapy ever since, never again. Been single since then, and I think I might stay that way. It's incredibly peaceful. I walked in on her in bed with another guy 2 days before Christmas. She knew I was gonna leave and threatened suicide. Then she cut her own face up and blamed it on her former hero dealer to get me to stay. I was naive and believed she wasn't using anymore. I left her anyways and went out of state, Idaho, Oregon, to be with my parents for Christmas. Someone saw her face and called the cops. She told them I beat her up and cut her. New Year's Eve, 2019, I woke up to 2 cops in my room. They arrested me in front of my poor mother. I sat in jail in Oregon for 2 weeks before they finally extradited me back to Idaho. Transport took 3.5 days. Once in Idaho, I sat in jail for another 2 weeks before my pre-trial hearing. 32 days in total. Idaho is very tough on these cases. Even though I was a literal Boy Scout who had never even been in a fistfight and had no criminal record at all, they were pushing for max penalty. 30 years in prison, 15 for aggravated battery, 15 more with the deadly weapon enhancement. I thought my life was over. At the hearing, she changed her story. Told enough truth to get me out, enough lie to keep herself out of trouble. Charges were dismissed and my file was sealed. She was the first woman I'd ever really opened up to and let inside. She was the first I'd ever been intimate with. And she absolutely destroyed me. I have not been in a stable, committed relationship since. She locked me into her apartment because I kept leaving and wouldn't accept work as a reason for leaving every day. Complained that I prioritized my children over her. We broke up. She messaged me months later because she saw a girl in a pic on my Insta and said I was cheating on her. She still massages me every now and then, years later, to ask me not to post things about my life on social media because it makes her angry. I didn't even know BPD existed until I was diagnosed with it almost 2 months ago. After I begged psychiatrists to medicate me because I knew I had something off with me, also bipolar 2, I feel that for the very first time I can shut my brain down and think clearly, not before blowing up my life, cheating on my husband of 20 years several times during a manic episode, and him leaving me even though he still loves me. Even my therapist said she sees one person now and not two like a year ago when I started. Meds could have saved my life if I was diagnosed earlier. So, yeah, I was going to say we are all not that terrible. I was never violent but did have rage reactions, never screaming or hitting, but had this inner hatred for myself that bleed into our perfect relationship. I'm going to die alone, but I don't want to hurt anyone ever again. Sorry for all the people here who suffered in hands of someone like me. We don't do it on purpose. Got married, she cheated, got divorced, she abused our child. The kindest thing she did was that she raped our kid and taped it. Now she's doing only 40 years because I asked the judge not to, threw the book at her for the sake of our child. Preemptive answering a coup of whys. I say our child to not confuse with the idea that it could have been one of my other children. She was supposed to get 240 plus years. She tried to plea out, however I could tell the judge wasn't going to give her any grace and would have ignored the prosecution's recommendation. In the end, I didn't want her on a top 10 list for the sake of my child. Currently going through some exceptionally rough times with my kid as they are trying to work through a lot of anger and trauma. The physical, emotional, and psychological abuse was way worse than the recorded incident. Well, at least for now. I feel bad for my child, but it's also very hard on me as well. We both are very resilient, so hopefully we both can find healthful happiness eventually. Maybe after they tear up 2 or 3 more walls. The trenches are rough. She was crazy. Then she was crazy with one of my acquaintances that she met through me. Then she was crazy with another one of my best friends that she also met through me. After breaking into people's houses and mentally and physically abusing us and being a psycho bitch and tricking my family into moving in with us. I'm not joking. She realized it was time to move on to a different social circle. She still comes up in conversation, even though this all happened 12 plus years ago. Recently found out that only days after I was finally able to break up her, that she met one of my now best friends and hooked up with him multiple times before starting to date the other guy a few weeks later. Had nice watermelons though, so she kept tricking us. Thanks for watching till the end. Write your stories in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.